Good morning, everyone. Hey, listen, so a lot of our subjects, we've covered a lot of different things, but today I kind of wanted to get into something pretty powerful. And, I'm kind of breezing past it, but I really, 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 really wanted to just nail it in there. And you see the subject line, which is goals are the most powerful tool that you actually have. And that's because it's a fact. Now, oddly enough, I heard about this when not oddly enough, but in high school we always hear about, man, you got to have big goals, big dreams. We always hear about these type of things, right? Excuse me. But you've got to have all these like they want you to say, okay, look, I'm going to be a doctor, going to be an astronaut, going to be whatever you're going to be. They have these huge goals. But we really don't understand, how we're using them for a tool. And I was just going to share how I did it. So years ago, I read this book called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Everybody knows it. It's like it's been around forever. And when I first read it, it's kind of a hard read, and he does say some pretty weird stuff. However, the real takeaway from this is if you write it down, it happens. Okay, I did understand that, but I never really, really tried. It took a while before me to get on the program of actually writing down goals and following through. And then it was the consistency of writing them down and then the frequency. So it's consistency and frequency. Like initially, I was like, actually, a lot of people write their goals down at the beginning of the year. Right around the first of the year, they're going to do this, and all the New Year changes. Okay, that's cool and that's great, but a lot of times they're not very successful with the New Year changes. And the reason is frequency and consistency on the goals. Now, I'm not a scientist and I can't explain exactly why this actually works, but what actually happens is when you write something down, for some reason, your brain puts it front and center and you start figuring out how to make things happen. It is the craziest thing. And so, my life personally, when I really started to really come on the scene and really started moving up the line and learning and more and becoming more and growing more, is when I got this concept of writing down my goals at night. And I don't mean like every now and then, I mean like 365 days a year. And let me give you an idea what that looks like. So, even like last night, I didn't feel that great, but I sat down and wrote it down. So one of my goals for 2021, I wanted to not gross, but I wanted to net $1 million. Okay, not that high of a goal, doable, and maybe not. Depends on a lot of things. Of course, we had COVID, all this crazy crap, and that's all of my entities rolled into one. I was trying to get $1 million net. So every day, it may hit it, may not, but every night before I go to sleep, when I do my goals for the next day, I have a dollar amount, which was my goal. And I would put 1,000,122. And the reason is because for 365 days, it's not far away from me. It's that day. That day, I'm working on that goal that's for that year. And, it's kind of like the old thing, you sow what you reap. We've all heard that. That's nothing new, nothing exciting. But it's the truest thing ever. I mean, the farmer plants the seed, gets the corn. He plants for potatoes, he gets potatoes. But if he doesn't plant anything, that's exactly what he gets. And so I just noticed for myself what happens is when I write down the goals the night before, this is just personal. Try it yourself, put it against your own, do your own test on it. But what actually happens to me is I write down the goals the night before. The next day, as I'm getting stuff done, it really starts getting on my nerves. Like I can't tell you, it's very agitating to know that something's on your goal list that's not getting done. So normally, if I'd have just thought about it and said, "Hey, man, I'm just going to throw something simple. I need to wash the car today." Okay, maybe I wash the car, maybe I don't, maybe something comes up, maybe it doesn't. But if it's on that list, for some reason my brain has registered this as important. So now all of a sudden I have to wash the car because it's on my list. And it's the craziest thing. But that's how life works. If you want to, especially when you get into like what we're into, where everything in your life depends on what you're selling or buying. And so, as crazy as life can get, It's so easy and simple and free to keep yourself on track. And I'll tell you personally, for me, I mean, people talk about, the hype of goals and they're like, hey, I'm going to buy an airline, or, I'm going to buy a country or an island, all this crazy stuff. And hey, you know what? I'm all about the dreams. Hey man, I got some pretty big plans of my own, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about your working goals, like how to achieve, get over the procrastination, get the duplication process of, hey, you know what? I've got to take care of my health. It's on my list every day. So I've got to prioritize my health. That means, probably shouldn't eat the cheeseburger, probably should eat the salad. I got to get up at a certain time so I can go straight to the gym. And that compounds over that 6, 7 days, 14 days, turns into 365. And I promise you, the guy that's writing it down at night before he goes to sleep is going to be gazillions. I don't know what the number is, but he's going to be a lot more productive at life in general than the guy that doesn't. I mean, that's just how it is. And it's probably, as far as I'm concerned, it's the most powerful tool I've ever had. And no one can change it. No one can make it for you. No one can make you do it. This is just like a personal choice of what you would want to do so you can become more and become better. And man, I gotta tell you, like, I have had some extraordinary success on stuff I've written down. And almost everything that I've written down, I accomplished. And what's weird is if you don't write stuff down and you don't accomplish it, it doesn't seem to matter. But when you write it down, even if it was like from 2 years ago, it's funny how your brain won't give you a pass, right? If you said, all right, you know what, man, I don't know what your personal goals are. Let's just say you're a car salesman. Hey, I want to have a 25 car month. I'm going to have a 25 car month. You know what? And if you write that down, it's not going to leave you till you get the 25 car month. It's going to haunt you, which is going to make you keep doing better. So maybe you have 4 20 car months back to back, but without those goals, you'd have probably had a 5 or 10, took a lot of time off, screwed off, did a lot of talking. It's amazing. Your mind is such a strong tool, especially for you guys, because I know a lot of y'all are smarter than I'll ever be. So you take someone simple, and I am a very simple person, but if you take someone simple and we give ourselves a brain command and say, hey, I'm going to do this, and you do it the night before, it sows that seed, and that seed is the most powerful thing in the universe. And just a couple things, I'm just going to touch base because I like to keep it real with you guys. Here's a few things that I had to work on, right? A long time ago, I decided, it was important to stay in touch with everyone in my family. So I devised, kind of like started doing these little things, and basically it evolved into sending them text messages, right? And do you know what's crazy is, to the people that are on that list, I'm closer to them than I've ever been in my life. Now, without that being written down the night before every night, it would still just, I wouldn't be any hate or discontent, but I just wouldn't have that closeness. I wouldn't have that everyday communication. I wouldn't have that everyday open door. Like I said, I write down the big number that I want for the year, and by no means is $1 million a big number. It could be, depending on where you're at in life, but to a lot of people, it's nothing. And that's okay. But so every day that I get up, I'm kind of really looking at that bigger number. And this is how I'm making my decisions. Am I going to hold in what I'm doing today, or is it costing me money? You follow, you see where I'm going with this, right? And it just brings everything front and center. If you write it down, it will happen. It's like right with the planting and the sowing and the reaping. If you plant that seed in your brain, it'll grow. And what's funny is, the more public you make your goals, the more people seem to want you to get them. It's nuts. You could be like, hey, I'm just giving you an example. Hey everybody, I plan on buying a new truck next month. And within 2 weeks of you saying that, everybody be like, hey man, what kind of trucks you looking at? Hey, look, I found a truck over here. Hey, this right here is where you can get a great loan at. Hey, this right here is a great... It is amazing what happens when you take the time. Just do it daily, guys. Write it down, man. And like the guy from the Shark said, a dull pencil's worth 10 times more than a sharp memory. So just write it down, man. Make it happen. All right, so that's my rant for this morning. And it's real simple, and it's just real easy to do. Doesn't cost you a penny. You don't need a guru. You don't need you don't need to pay anyone to tell you to do it. If you take the time to write it down, things will start to happen. But look, the same rules apply to everything in your life. So whatever's important to you, if it's your income, make sure you have a little bit on your goal sheet about that. If it's your personal life, make sure you have a little bit about that. Maybe marriage, to your husband, wife, whatever. Maybe kid relationship, maybe outside family relationships, whatever. Don't make it complex. Just maybe write a sentence. Hey, hook, be attentive with family. Do this for work. And then, you got other thing. Maybe it's like religion. Some people are into church and they're kind of abandoning it because they're doing whatever, they're off track. Do whatever it is. You got to make that goal sheet work for you, because that's who it's for. So I call mine a personal momentum, because that's what it is. Anyway, nothing but peace and love from the RVA. I'm just glad you got a chance to watch this today, and appreciate your support, and we will see you tomorrow. Hey, y'all have a great day, man.